I chose to do a net zero renovation over a traditional renovation for a couple of reasons. One, it makes the house more comfortable and seals it much better. And in an environment like Toronto that has extremes of weather, it kind of helps in both extremes. And the other is financial. Really, there are a lot of grants available if you went a little bit further distance in doing green renovations, and long-term you save a lot more money as well. The process of making the house a net zero home was one that kind of played out over a 12-year period. And from when I bought the home, and it started with an energy audit that at the time I needed and saw as a hurdle to get grants and rebates for the renovations that I was doing. But really that ended up being one of the best things that I did, because it lays out a plan of, if you're going to spend the money, where are you going to have the greatest impact for your dollar and for the comfort of your home. So that laid out a plan that I then followed for the subsequent 10 plus years. Throughout that process, you kind of, through governments changing and everything, have to keep on top of what grants and rebates are available. So sometimes the things were at the top of the priority list didn't have any rebates, so I jumped down the list a little bit, but keep checking boxes off from that initial audit. There were things like the windows, triple pane with gas in between the layers, getting insulation injected into the walls, that's recycled concrete, getting new doors, weather sealing the outside of the house, putting insulation outside, and new siding, insulating the roof, and also insulating the foundation. So we dug up around the entire outside of the house, improved the drainage so that it was better for the home envelope, and then also seeped back into the water table again. And at that time, we put insulation around the outside that actually keeps our basement warm, which is finished, and also helps minimize termites coming through. So it served multiple purposes at the time. And the last bit of it were the final stages. Once we kind of reduced, made the envelope of the house better, was sealing the ducts inside, which actually had a huge impact on the airflow through the home, and then solar panels that produce 100% of our electricity that we use in the home. And then the final stage was getting rid of the natural gas hot water and natural gas furnace to be replaced with heat pump hot water and heat pump home heating. And to make the process easier, I kind of wish that I had done a couple things. So one, join Facebook communities, which I don't even know if they existed when I started this process, but I think it took a considerable amount of research to find some of the products, some of the contractors who were trained in installing some of the newer technologies, like all the kind of green products that you try to build into the choices you make when you're renovating a home. It would have been much easier if I had a group of like-minded people, I think, at the time, to save me some of the time in that research, and we could learn from each other. The city has some great resources that you can call and they consult with, and they can kind of help you understand the language and the concepts and everything that you need to really make good choices around the investments you're making. If you're thinking about going net zero, I would recommend it because it actually doesn't cost that much more upfront, especially now with so many rebates from all three levels of government. And it really does make your home more comfortable. And I think the biggest myth is that it's going to end up costing you so much more that the return on your investment is not there. And that's actually not true. With all the the carbon taxes and over the next 10 years, the cost of using fossil fuels is going up. And we see now in the world, there's, with all the chaos, that it fluctuates, and it really does give you a sense of security and peace to know that that's something that I don't have to worry about anymore. And a significant portion of my renovations were paid for by government grants. My life's improved significantly at home. When I moved into the house on a windy winter day, it felt like wind was blowing through the home. And now, because of the insulation and the windows and the envelope, and even the electric machinery is a lot quieter than the old natural gas stuff was, the home is a lot more peaceful. It's quieter. You don't hear as much noise inside from the mechanics of the home. And also the outside of the house, you don't hear sirens, you don't hear car alarms. So it's made it much more peaceful. But I think as well, it's made me feel really proud about the fact that I know that I've done everything that I can to help, protect the planet and minimize the heating that's going on in the world, or the extremes. And also from a financial perspective, I'm in my late 40s, hopefully retire sometime in the next, 15, 20 years. And it's given me a sense of financial security as well, because my bills are totally predictable, and I know there's not going to be any increase in them over the time that I stay in this home. Some money saving tips that I think I would recommend. So first, before you endeavor in any of these, get an energy audit. And even from that, reach out to your networks and find out, who are some of the better energy auditors. Because what I found is not all of them are as versed in some of the newer technologies and the availability of them to make recommendations to you. The other thing is, your contractors. Do some research on where you find them. Don't just pick them out of the phone book per se. And you can use different resources like HomeStars or things like that, where other people rate them, put up projects, and you can get feedback both from the companies and from the users of their services. The other thing is use your resources in your neighborhood. There are lots of neighborhood groups where individuals have already done this. They've learned who are good, who's bad at doing these types of things, and sometimes newer products that may not be mainstream yet that you might be aware of, that actually can be often cheaper. The other thing that I did was I used contractors, say for instance, in a lot of the external work that do much larger projects, like industrial projects where they're redoing masonry and insulation on the outside and stonework. And they look for jobs that keep their crews busy in between those larger ones. And often they only charge at cost just to keep their employees working. So you save a lot of money. Every little bit of money that you can save really helps for the larger goal of making the home net zero. It's not as hard as people think it is. And again, you don't have to, it can be overwhelming to at the beginning, but it's once you do all these little projects, every single one of them, you'll feel the difference and you'll see the difference on your utility bills. And that creates more motivation. And then, just really, it makes you feel good. And when I come home at the end of the day and, it's lovely and warm in my house and it's really cold outside, and I know that I'm not creating any pollution, there's a comfort that's there that makes me feel good. I'm very proud of what we've done, and I think other people are able to attain that easily as well. And it is something as well you can't ignore. All of us will have to do this at some point, and it's easier to start now and work in small chunks rather than do it all at once in a larger project.